Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, Butterfly Spirit 314. So today guys, I want to talk about the title in today's video, which happens to be Old Man Stalked Me Thinking I Was a Teen Girl, my experience. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this today. And I find this very alarming, and this makes me really afraid for the young girls in our communities. The little girls who are, 10 or less, or girls who are above 10, in their teens, or, even women who are just out walking and they happen to look young, like myself. It makes me very concerned for the women that are happen to be in the neighborhoods that I live in. So I live in a neighborhood that happens to have colleges in it. So I guess you call it a kind of a college town. But I live some blocks away from the colleges and things like that. In my neighborhood, away from the colleges, um, some streets over happens to have my street and stuff, and then a street over from me, up the street from there's a school. And so what happens in my neighborhood is kids get off the bus in my community because they're going back home, and they walk around the neighborhood and different things like that. And so this is really alarming for me, because one thing I really don't want is, I don't want a young girl to be approached by older men like what happened to me. So I was walking around my neighborhood today. It's a really nice and beautiful day today. And since my boyfriend happens to be gone fishing, I thought it would be a good idea to go and take a walk and stuff like that, kind of to give myself some self-care by getting some exercise and stuff like that. And what happened is that I walked around the corner from my house down the street. And as I go up that street, there's a intersection, and then I can continue, walking up the sidewalk up until I get to a school. So what happened to me is that I was walking up the hill, and I happened to be next to an elementary school. And my boyfriend's, or I guess you say fiance's, niece goes to that school. And so when I got to the corner, what happened is that the school happens to be right here. There is a sidewalk that's here, okay? And then there happens to be a street. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw it out for you guys so you can kind of see real quick. So this is the school. This is the sidewalk. And then here is the street. And then there happens to be another street that goes across here. So just kind of keep in mind, this isn't the perfect building or anything. And this sidewalk goes all the way down here, as well as the street goes down here. So I thought I would give a good drawing of what happened. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm gonna hold it up here. So as you guys can see, here's the school. Here's the sidewalk here. And then here is the major street here. And then there's a cross street that's here, okay? So the school kind of sits at the corner, as you can see. So I'm standing pretty much right here at the corner. So I'm gonna put an X where I was at on the sidewalk. So I'm right here. I'm gonna put an X in a circle for me. So here I am where this X and this circle is, okay, next to the school. And at the time, I didn't know that there was kids outside who were playing or whatever. But here I am. I was thinking about going down the sidewalk that happens to be this way, okay? And I was thinking, hey, maybe I'll make my walk longer. Okay. So what happened is that while I was standing in this particular spot, I was just kind of standing here to kind of catch my breath because this is a hill, okay, that has a school at the top of the hill. So what happened is I was standing right here, and I saw that there was this guy with a white car, okay, and what happened is that he turned from this street onto this street. So what happens is as he was turning, he saw me, standing at the corner. And, there's a lot of cars that go up and down this street right here. There's a lot of cars that do, And so I was like, not really taking anything in. I was just thinking, I noticed that the guy, had on some rap music. And I noticed that he was, looking at me, and I was kind of confused, about, the old man having the music that he did. He had on some, rap music that would probably be from, the current time. And, he was in this white car and he had all the windows down and he was looking at me. And I was like, why is this guy looking at me? So what happens is that this guy, he goes down this street, right? So he turns and goes down this street, and he made sure he looked at me as he was going down the street, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, well, this guy's going to keep going. I'm thinking he's going to keep going down the street. So what happened is that what this guy did right here is what he did was he turned down here, looked at me as he passed me and continued down here. So I thought that, oh, okay, maybe he was just this, crazy old man, who probably can't see. So what happens is the guy goes down the street, and as I'm looking down this street, because that down this way is where, if I go down towards this way, I'm going back in the direction of where my house is. So this guy goes down the street, and what does he do? This guy goes down here, okay? Goes down here. And then you know what this guy does? This dude turns around, okay? This dude turned his car around. I saw him turn around and come back into the direction up closer back to the school. So he came down here, okay? So he came, turned down here and then did a U-turn and turned back around here, right? And I couldn't believe that this guy turned around. And the fact that he turned around reminded me of the police, because once I was stopped and a police officer wanted to give me a ticket, so they act like they drove past me, and then they turned around, and of course it was to try to, get me, give me a ticket. So this guy was acting like the police. He went down the street, turned around, and then he ended up across the street from me. Okay? He ended up across the street. And again, he's looking at me and stuff like that. And I got this creepy ass feeling, chill going up my spine, like this guy is out of his mind. He's a creep, a real creep. Okay? So, and this dude, he turns around, so he's across the street from me. And do you know what he did? What he went ahead and did is he went and did a U-turn, and then there was like two cars right here. So there was two cars here, and I happened to be standing right here by this time. So I'm standing right here by this time that this dude then turned around, okay? So there happens to be two cars right here. I'm standing on the sidewalk, and I know this is really weird, but I'm standing on the sidewalk, and I happen to be standing right here, next to these two cars. And what this guy was attempting to do, because when he turned around, At first, he was behind the two cars. Okay. So he was right here. Okay. And so, he realized that, I was creeped out and I was right here. And so what this dude thought he would do is he would get right in front of his two cars. And by now I was, right here and he was right here. And then, this guy's looking at me with this rap music on. Oh man, I'm going to say he's probably in his 50s or 60s. And, he's African American, like myself. And he stops where I'm at. And I had gotten my phone out because I anticipated what he was going to do. And, I wasn't sure if this guy was going to try to, shoot me or whatever. I wasn't really sure. But I was sure as hell he was going to try to talk to me. But what he did was he pulled over where I was. And I guess he was going to try to, be a creep and think I was a teenage girl, and he didn't say nothing, but he just like looked at me like, like he was intending on me to get in his car, and the reason I know this is because when I used to live, on the north side, with my mom and stuff like that, what would happen is there was guys who did the same thing. They would pull over, if I'm walking down the street, if I'm walking down the street and stuff like that. Actually, if I'm walking up the street, okay, if I'm walking up a hill, okay, if I'm going up a hill and I'm walking uphill, what happens is, and this is when I was a teenager, when I was, walking up the hill or down the hill, because we lived on the street that was hilly. So when I'm walking up the hill, what would happen is there would be some guy, okay, and what he'd do is he would drive past me and then pull up a couple, a little space up the hill, waiting for me to walk by, right? And this is me walking by, okay? And what I think that was about was prostitution. So there were some girls. Actually, it wasn't girls that I specifically saw, but, well, maybe one time it was this girl I saw, but there was this lady. What happened is that, and this is another example in the past, I'm not trying to get off tangent, but what happened is that me, my mom, and my brother were doing yard work. And there was this lady who happened to be walking up the street, and this guy pulled ahead of her a little space up from her. And then this lady walks up to this guy's car, and, this guy's discussing with her the possibility of having sex with her. And he's negotiating a price with her, okay? And I seen this happen to another girl. I think she was more light skinned than me, but she was a teenager like myself. And there was actually this girl when I was younger who, same thing happened to her. She was walking down the hill, and what this guy did, he, went ahead and pulled up in front of her a little ways up the street from her. And then he waited for her to walk by. And then the guy said to her, "Oh, hey, baby, how you doing?" The girl walks up to the guy's car and starts having a conversation with him. And I'm across the street from, oh my gosh, I guess she spooked off on my chair. This, girl's my age having a conversation with this guy, and she gets in the car with him. I'm not sure what happened to, the girl or anything like that, because, I heard her, he was asking if he can give her a ride somewhere, and she was like, okay, and she just got in the car. To this day, I don't know what happened to that girl, but I had a good sense of what was happening based off of the lady who, in front of my grandmother's house was sitting here, bending over in this guy's car, talking to him about, them discussing having sex with each other. And I just thought that was disgusting. And, when this guy did what he did today was exactly the same thing. The guy, make sure he pulls up a little ways, make sure he makes eye contact, with me, turns around and stuff. And I'm going to tell you what got the guy today to leave me alone, okay, that pulled up in front of me. Well, actually, he didn't even pull up far away. He made sure he was right, and made sure he can see me and everything. And so one thing that I would say saved me in this situation is I happen to have my boyfriend's cell phone. So my boyfriend, my phone broke. And so my boyfriend is letting me use his old phone. And one thing that saved me today was I had my phone out before this guy even stopped in front of me, and I didn't know what was going to happen. But I had my phone out. And I told the guy, I had my phone out and stuff like that. And it wasn't on, but, it was lower light than this, like that, kind of like this. So this guy, I had my phone out. And it actually worked. But I told this guy, I said, and he pulled it up to me. Before he could say anything, I said, I got the police on the phone. And, I got them on the phone right now. I told him, I got the police on the phone right now. And, if I tell them to, they're gonna show up here. And I think what scared the guy is that I told him I got the police on the phone. And that's what got him to leave. This dude drove off because he didn't want to be caught by the cops. And before he could leave, I called him a creep. Because this guy is actually a creep. Now, of course, I told him a lie to get him to leave me alone. But I was serious about calling 911 if it came down to it. If this guy got out of his car or whatever, what I was prepared to do is, I was thinking about a lot of things at the same time. I was thinking about, okay, do I have to run? There's a school right here. Do I want to run down to my house? What am I closest to? But I thought about those things, but I stood my ground today. And this isn't the only time this happened in my neighborhood. It's not the only time that it happened. Same school I was walking past, but I happened to be a street over from the school. And same thing happened. I was walking down the street with my book bag. Okay. And I was walking down the street with my book bag, and I'll go grab it. All right. So I was walking down the street. Oops, it's open. I didn't know it was open. All right. I was walking down the street with my book bag. Okay. I happened to be coming back from the store. And so I thought, I would, walk down the street next to the school, not the same one I was on today, but a different one. And I was walking down the street, and something I guess happened is there was this guy coming up the street, guy in his, I would say 50s, and he was an overweight guy, probably similar complexion to myself. This guy was in a Cadillac Escalade, white in color. And I was walking down the street with this on, okay, with this book on. And I guess he thought I was a girl coming from school. And this dude, he tried to do the same thing, to try to talk to me. So he tried to slow down and talk to me, was looking at me and stuff like that, and was doing the same behavior, If you're a woman, this has happened to because you look younger and stuff like that, I feel your pain. But this guy thought I was a little girl. And he was thinking he was going to stop, but you know what I did? I kept walking. And I didn't say nothing to that guy. But today was my last straw, okay? Last straw. Because there are young girls who are getting off school same time that I happen to be walking around my neighborhood. At that time and today. They're getting off the bus. They're walking from their, middle school or high school. Those little girls do not need to be, they do not need to be bothered by some old ass grown men, who are in their 50s or 60s. They mistook me for a young girl, you know, both men did. And I guess they thought it was okay to try to talk to me because they thought, oh, well, she's young and stuff like that, thinking I don't know what's going on, but really I'm an adult. I just happen to wear my hair in two ponytails, you know. And so, one of the things that I want you guys to watch out for, if you have daughters or cousins or, you know, um, you have relatives who are in their teenage years or, 20s, but they look really young. Um, be Please tell them about what's going on with these old men trying to solicit young girls. And I know they're trying to solicit these young girls for sex, and that's not okay, you know. And I would say, please be very, very cautious with, with young girls who are, who are maybe 10 or 11, 9. What, if the little girl looks like she's in elementary school or she looks like she's, a teenager or whatever, or in middle school, please watch out for the young girls. Watch out for them. You know, girl, teenager, young adult. Watch out for these girls because there's old men who are trying to prey on these girls. And I don't think it's just African American men who are older who are doing this. I think there's other men who are doing this. And I'm talking about these men who make it very apparent that they're trying really hard to do this. And the only thing that scares them off is the police. And and that's what scares them off. And it may not scare your relative off from that, or your daughter or your sister from that. It may not scare them off. What I'm telling you guys is watch out for these young girls because there's old men who are trying to prey on them. And the good thing is I'm a grown up, I'm in my 30s. Actually, I'm 30. So, I think I look really young, and I do think the old man thought that I was a young girl. But just because he thought I was a young girl, doesn't he understand that a young girl who's either, we should consider a girl or even a teenager or young adult, doesn't this man understand that these girls cannot give consent? They can't do that. They can't because they don't know that somebody's trying to prey on them. They don't know somebody that's older that looks like they're in their grandpa's age trying to prey on them. They don't know that. And this is very startling to talk about because people are not aware that this stuff is happening. I was aware of it in my neighborhood. When I was in high school, I was aware of it. But are you guys aware of it? Because, and this could happen to, it can happen to boys as well, I can say. It can happen to boys, young boy walking home from school and some old man or old woman is driving around the block looking for a young kid to kidnap, saying that they'll drop him off at his house. Look out for all kids, because there's some people who, you got the feeling and that they're creeps. Okay. They're actual creeps. And we need to get the, message out here that, to protect our young kids against, this kidnapping and pedophilia, we need to protect, our, relatives from this stuff. Because I'm sure you guys know somebody out there who's young. I'm sure you know somebody, and most kids think all is good with the world. They think they can trust people. They think they can listen to people who are older than them. But the issue is that there are some people out there who are not right, who, think that they can prey on young kids, and that's not okay. I don't care if it's a young girl, young boy, young teen girl, teen boy, you know, adolescent girl or boy. You know, we need to watch out in our communities and stop people from thinking that they can prey on our, you know, kids, relatives, cousins, whatever. Because I'm sure each of you know somebody. I'm just putting this message out here to try to help people so that you know what to expect and you know what's going on and you can be aware. And even if you don't know the kid who some, you know, older person is following, even if you don't know, but you see the kid is hesitating or they're in fear, step in and help them. You know, let them know, hey, it's okay, I'm here to help. You know, so you can stop kids from being kidnapped and preyed on, you know, because this is disgusting. That's really all I have to say.